Hey, what's going on, good people? It's Gardner Douglas, your Oyster Ninja. I'm here with Mr. Chris Fields. You guys might recognize this beautiful face from some of his shucking lessons all over. That's actually how I saw. I was like, let me do some googling on Mr. Fields here, and everybody just raves about how you do your thing behind the knife, man.
Oh wow, thank you, thank you. It's really nice. It's really nice to hear that. Because basically when I'm doing oysters, it's all about the people enjoying them. It's not about me at all. And I just want to see people enjoy oysters. This is a job that's given me more joy than any other career I've had in my life, and it's a pleasure to be here with you, Gardner.
Yeah, man, my pleasure, man. So, how in the world did you get into this daggone shucking world?
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. Gardner, I'm sure you're familiar with the saying, no good deed goes unpunished, right?
No doubt.
Okay. Well, I'm living proof of it. I basically returned a lost item to the person who lost it, and like a wallet and a backpack to the person that lost it on the streets of Toronto, where I'm originally from. And for my honesty and good work, I was offered a dozen raw oysters, dozen Malpecs, and a job offer because, according to the person who lost the wallet and backpack, I was an honest, upstanding young man. But then again, it was back in '87, so the young part doesn't apply anymore, you know. But that's how I got into this. And it was the first time I ever ate raw oysters in my life, and it was during a shellfish scare of all things.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was sitting there. It was a newly opened oyster bar. It was Rodney's Oyster House in Toronto, and at the time they were located on Adelaide Street. And I walked in, and there was Rodney behind the counter. I'm sure you know Eamon Clark.
Mm-hmm.
That's his dad, and he gave me a dozen raw oysters and said, "Hey, thanks a lot," and everything, and I was kind of hesitant at first, with the shellfish scare and the whole bit, and I looked at the other couple and I didn't know if it was a murder suicide pact or whatever, right? So, it's just like, but when I tried them, they were incredible. It's like, why have I not eaten these before? I was just taken aback by how they tasted like the ocean. And as soon as I ate one, it made me feel like I was a little kid playing on the beach, and, diving in the salt water, like, yeah, it was just something that really appealed to me. So I took it on part-time until '93 when I quit my full-time job working for DHL, and I decided to do it full-time. And basically that was almost 34 years ago.
Sheesh.
Yeah, and I've never looked back.
No doubt, man. No need to look back, man.
No. I found something that I'm actually passionate at, good at, and I just love the reaction when I can get someone to try an oyster for the first time.
Right.
And
how hard is that for you, though? How hard is it for you to get somebody to try their first oyster?
Some people are more difficult than others. Like, a lot of the people, they go, oh, well, it's the appearance of it. And then that's when I usually counter, have you ever eaten a chocolate bar with nuts? And they go, yeah. And I go, well, let's think about what that looks like, really. And I go, it might look like that, but it tastes great. And I go, and, I said, you really can't have an opinion about something until you at least try it, and I just try to get them into the mood for it. And most of the time, it's really not that hard. It's because I like to do a nice mixed plate. I like to give them a sampler plate. And the person ordering oysters, I will usually run right through it with them, telling them where they're from, how they're grown, what they eat, and what they can expect. And generally, people listening in are interested. And I think in a way they want the same kind of attention, and they just want to have the same experience as everyone else.
No doubt.
And I find it makes it easier that way, just taking the time to explain a little to the person having them. And like the first time I worked at the Barefoot, I did out a plate, very nice sampler plate, 5 different types of oysters. I explained them all. And the person next to them goes, "Hey, can I get a dozen oysters?" And his wife had never tried them, but just listening to the way they were explained, I kind of took the mystery out of it, what to expect.
Right.
Because they're all definitely different times of the year, and I think a lot of what scares people at first is just not knowing,
So,
mm-hmm.
what I was gonna say. Oh, so just like your perfect plate of 5, like how would that go?
I did some really beautiful European oysters that were growing out on the coast here. I'm in BC, and these were done by just this old English couple, and they're no longer in business. I think Taylor Shellfish bought them out actually, but they were phenomenal. Big, like almost dinner, like side plate size, and some Kumamotos, some really nice beach angels from my friends up at Outlandish Shellfish on Cortes Island. What else did I give? And some Olympias from Washington State.
I like those. When I can get them, I like to get those for myself.
Yeah, I like to get them too, because here in Canada, they're actually on the watch species list. So that puts them just a step down, just from like being endangered. So, the farmers out here are doing their best to actually promote their growth, but we're not selling them commercially yet. But I always tell people, like, this is a gem. When you can get them, try them, because they might be a small oyster, but as far as taste and texture and everything else go, they're huge. They're huge, and they're nice to shuck too.
Yeah, nice and easy. They pop right open.
Yeah, and they're beautiful. Like, the shells are beautiful. It's more like an abalone shell a lot of the time than a real oyster shell. Like, without so much nacre. Without that the mother of pearl on it. But it's just beautiful. Yeah, no, it's one of my favorites out here.
So,
and I try to. Yep.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I just try to promote the locally grown stuff as much as possible, but that doesn't stop me from ordering some really prime East Coast oysters either. So, yeah.
So you've been behind the knife for 30-some years.
Yeah.
Is there any memories that kind of stick out that that'll never leave you?
There's quite a few. But mainly, one of the best memories I had was about 10 years ago. I participated in the Southern Ontario Oyster Opening Championship, and if you talk to any shucker up here in Canada, they'll tell you that's the toughest competition, not the nationals, but that one, because that's when all the big names are pulling the knives out of the drawer and everything else, because that's the one that we really like, because we know we're going against some really tough competition, and we know the oysters are great. And plus, I gotta say, Rodney and Eamon know how to throw a hell of a party. But what it was connecting with Rodney again, because I hadn't seen him in at least 15 years. And him pulling me aside and telling me, I'm glad you stuck with it. And, just gave me a really nice sort of shot in the arm of confidence before I went up and shucked. Mind you, I, placed 11th that day because, well, I kind of got into the beer a little too much. But, oh, yeah. It's a shucking competition, right? This is what I tell people, like it can go either way, but yeah, it was just nice to reconnect with all my oyster brothers and sisters that I hadn't seen in such a long time, because I've been out in BC for quite a while, and it was just nice to get back there, Yeah.
So a lot of people have a different techniques and methods they do to get ready for competition. So when you're not partaking in the beer, like how do you get ready for a shucking competition?
Basically, I have a playlist on my phone, and I will basically go to where I'm working, or go to the oyster competition itself and get some practice in ahead of time. Just opening oysters for the people that are attending and everything else. But generally, I pick one song that I feel is the rhythm for the shucking that day, and it can vary. It can vary as far as how I'm feeling that day. Like the last one I was in just in November, I think it was Cotton Eye Joe by Redneck. But it had a good solid beat. And I was doing 30 oysters, and I, looked at the time on the song, and it's like, well, it's under 3 minutes. So if I can get my oysters shucked and on the plate in that time, then I've done exactly what I wanted to.
Right.
And yeah, a lot of it's, but I, as far as shucking music goes, I think I prefer James Brown over everything.
Nice.
Yeah. Living in America, great horn section,
Yeah, no doubt about that. One song one song that got me through, and you might think this is weird, but it was Elvis Presley.
Yeah, which one?
Little sister, don't you?
Oh yeah. I like Promised Land too. That's a good one. A good little rockin' Elvis tune. No, that's a great choice.
So the band just happened to be playing that song at the competition, and I swear I just jumped into the groove and jumped on top of the beat, and I just rode it the whole way.
Nice.
Yeah.
Isn't it a great feeling when you finish and you still want to dance though?
You still want to go. Yeah, man.
Yeah, well, that's the way it was for me, as soon as I stepped away from the plate and everything else, it's just like my coworkers at the restaurant who were timing us and judging us and everything else. They were just going, I've never seen you dance before. And I go, yeah. And they go, well, you're not bad for a white guy. And I go, well, I like to think I have some rhythm,
Right.
Yeah.
James Brown will do it for you.
Oh, definitely. Come on, James. Yeah, exactly. And how can you not like James Brown? I'm sorry, Yeah.
So over the years, since we're talking about, James Brown, musicians, have you shucked for any celebrities or anything like that?
Actually, quite a few.
Nice.
That's the neat thing about the restaurant up here. I've gotten quite a few. I'll just list a few of my favorites, actually. One of them was Queen Latifah.
Wow.
She was great, actually. She was great. The people she was with were horrible, but she was fantastic. She really likes her oysters. And when I asked her what she wanted to drink, she said, "Oh, I want a Hennessy and Coke." And I guess she must have read the expression on my face. And she goes, "Listen, you can take the girl out of the ghetto, but not the ghetto out of the girl." And I just liked her because she was very approachable. She was very, very pleasant, really, really pleasant. And even though at the time I you know, when someone said, "Oh, Queen Latifah's here," I go, "Which country is she queen of?" You know, like that's, yeah, I'm an older guy, right? I'm not keeping up with everything, but after that, like, I definitely became one of her fans. The other one that really sticks out was Robin Williams.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, and he was up here with his son on a vacation, and I got to tell you, that guy was exactly how you see him on TV. You know, he was always on. He was making me laugh and everything. And I don't usually gush over celebrities at all because I don't want to be that guy. You know, but with him, I just told him. I said, honestly, I got to thank you for all the laughs you've given me over the years. You know, and he was really, really nice. He was just happy to be there with his son. Yeah, yeah, it was great. I've served a couple of, I served two prime ministers in Canada, um, as well. One of them I liked because his security detail had pepper sprayed someone the day before.
Mm-hmm.
And when he had his oysters, I said, "Would you like some pepper on that?" He got the joke, but his security detail didn't find it funny at all. You know, like, you know, and when my manager wanted to have a word with me, and I told him, "Oh, I'm probably going to get fired for cracking off to you now." And he told the guy, he goes, "Hey, leave him alone. That guy's my boss. You know, he can say anything he likes. He's a
Right.
taxpayer. He's my boss. He can say," which, for a politician, I was rather shocked at,
Mm-hmm.
like, it's just like, wow, he took that joke well, I'm like,
Right, right.
yeah, yeah. So,
That's
yeah,
what's up, man. So
yeah.
what sets you apart, behind the knife? Because like I said, I looked you up and everybody was just like going crazy over like how you're so I guess you have a lot of patience and you thoroughly teach about, your craft.
Yeah, well, I think what sets me apart is the education part. I want people to know what they're eating, and I want to give the people who are going out there every day in all kinds of weather, harvesting these oysters, literally putting their asses on the line to bring us something to our dinner plate. And the one thing I like to point out to them is you don't have to be on a crab boat in the Bering Sea to die while you're on the water. These people, they're putting it on the line every day. And I try to educate people and tell them where their oysters are from, the kind of areas. I even tell them, like, look, if you want to go up and visit these people, I can arrange that. And I've done that on numerous occasions for certain guests. And what it is when Rodney and Adam Calhoun taught me this, and I discovered this new lease on life, a new career, I said, listen, I really am grateful. I'd like to pay you back. And they both said, just play it forward. Do the same thing we did with you. Continue it. And that's all I've tried to do. I've tried to just live up to what they asked me for, because I am still grateful to this day, 34 years later, for them having taken the time to teach me, So, like, really, and I think people these days are more aware and want to be more aware where their food comes from, how it was raised. You see this more and more, glutens, vegans, like people, what are the vegans calling themselves now? Oh yeah, they're plant-based people, which
Right,
like, I'm not slagging them at all. It's just I want to keep up with the current terminology on it, but yeah, for me, it's really actually just educating people and giving them a good laugh, and hearing their stories. Like, the one thing I love about serving people oysters is when they're really enjoying it, you get to hear the story of their first oyster, which is really neat. Like this one lady telling me when she was a little girl running on the beach and cutting her feet on an oyster shell, and her dad drying her tears while serving her a fresh oyster, the first one she ever had. And it's neat to hear their stories. Like I said, it's not about me, it's about them. But I give them a few stories of my own, the ones that aren't covered by non-disclosure agreements, which a few of them might be,
Right.
but like, yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, I want to ask you, what got you into it?
What got me into shucking oysters?
Yeah.
The money, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, the money got me into it, but the love of oysters kept me into it.
Nice.
Yeah. So like my dad shucked oysters, and he taught me how to shuck oysters when I was around 20, 21, something like that. And from there, man, I got the bug, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. So this is it's a good one, man. I got the bug, and I just never let go, man. It's like I always, when I needed extra money, I knew oysters would be there, And I would shuck them and go sell them, or maybe we got a gig at a firehouse to go shuck somewhere, and
Nice.
we would do that, like the oyster and bull roast. And then I moved up to DC, and I started, basically going to like a more fancier way of, I guess, doing it.
Yeah.
And man, people ate me up and loved it, man. Then I started with the social media stuff, and when social media gets hold of you, it's up and away.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. No, that's great. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I like the Oyster Ninja logo too. That's awesome.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
My buddy, Kim Blanchard, man. Kim Blanchard has a bunch of podcasts, Black Man with a Gun, Speak Life Ministries. He's got some good ones, man. But, when I got this, so I got a day job too. A lot of people don't know. They just think I shuck oysters all the time.
Yeah.
But I met him, and he was like, "Hey, man, you need to tell that story. You need to." I was like, "Yeah, that would be cool." I was like, "I could interview other oyster shuckers and, blah blah blah." But what would I call it? I don't even know. Like, and then we just start shooting back and forth, and Oyster Ninja caught.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's great, and I love the logo too. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah. One place I worked in Toronto, Oyster Boy. With Adam Calhoun, who's Oyster. Well, he is Oyster Boy, basically. But he went to Okinawa, and he brought back all these ninja masks for the staff. And they all had numbers. And he goes, "No, look, if I give you one, it's not how I feel towards you,
Right.
As a matter of fact, the person getting number one, well, I'm thinking of firing you, but
Right.
But like, yeah, no, it was really cool because, like a couple of times I'd put it on during service, just to freak people out, Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
So as far as like the oyster industry, man, I know you, before we started recording, you was telling me that, you got kind of cut back from, the raw bars. So what can we do right now in this time, like, to keep the movement going?
Well, I think what we should do as an industry is basically, we have to be adaptable. We have to basically, like, it's unfortunate we can't have our oyster festivals like we did, because that was always a great way of approaching people. But what I'm trying to do now is encourage people, because of the ability to socially distance now, to go to oyster farms for tours, slight tours. It helps the farmers out, helps the water people out, and they can go out on a boat and still keep socially distanced, and it's out in the open, lots of wind, and they can still enjoy their oysters. And the other thing, a lot of the people that I've dealt with over the years are doing now, they're smoking their product and canning it. But what I'm trying to do is basically talk the restaurants into like having an outdoor oyster bar where people can still talk to the shucker while maintaining distance.
Mm-hmm.
Because like indoors, people are reluctant these days to get too close, and understandably so.
For sure.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm just trying to adapt as best I can to the new reality, basically, on this. And we're I don't know if I've solved it yet, but I'm doing my best.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you for taking time out, man, and talking with the Oyster Ninja podcast. And
totally my pleasure, my friend. And if and when you get out here, I'd love to show you around.
For sure, man. For sure. It's crazy. I get so many invites, and before, it's kind of where, oh yeah, eventually I'll get to it. But now it's like, dang, when will I be able to get to it?
Yeah, no, I hear you there. I hear you. Like there's a lot of friends and everything I want to go visit right now, and because I'm pretty heavily involved with the Japanese oyster industry as well. Because my fiance is Japanese, and I'm going to be moving there eventually, but I do have a few oyster growing friends over there, and I miss the hell out of them because they're a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm hoping to get over there soon.
Nice, man.
But, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Keep us posted, man. And just for the listeners and followers, man, where can we stay updated with you? Hopefully when everything opens up, we can come see you at an oyster bar or something.
Yeah, well, the Barefoot, or basically just like on social media, I'll keep it updated as to what I'm doing, where I am, because this winter we just got to see how things work out financially for the restaurant, which I'm sure a lot of shuckers are in the same boat. There are a couple other places in town, but I might go down to Vancouver, to get back on the horse, so to speak. So.
Okay, man. Well, we wish you luck, and I wish you luck, and just keep me posted, and I'll keep the listeners posted, man.
Thank you so much, Gardner. Thank you. And it's been a total pleasure, man. It's really nice to talk to a fellow oyster shucker.
No doubt, man.
Yeah. And
hopefully,
I want to get one of your hats too. Yeah.
All right. When the next batch comes in, I'll keep you posted.
Okay. Thanks a lot, man.
Okay.
All right. Listen, all the best to you and your family. Take good care. Be safe, man.
All right.
All right. Okay.